Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Reincarnated as a Podcaster. We are your hosts, the Forrest, the Bob, the Ed Boy. Today, we're talking about something that came out a little bit ago.
My soggy egos.
Yeah, the my soggy egos. Those poor egos. We are talking about Arcane.
Yes,
Season
it's
one.
only taken 30 years.
Season 2.
Give me a second.
A couple months ago.
Right.
A couple years ago. At this
It was like
point.
November.
Oh, no.
No. December? Before Christmas?
Yeah, it was like November.
November 9th.
Aha.
Wow.
Called it.
It's been a while.
It's been like almost 3 months.
Yeah. Could have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
Eddie, I learned this is going to be Eddie's favorite anime of the season that he didn't watch until we made him watch it.
No, Dan still takes that. But
Wow.
That's a tight call. Okay, whatever.
that is. But
Finally watched Arcane.
Yes.
Season 3.
Artistically, it was beautiful.
yes,
Almost every shot was a wallpaper.
it is.
We should probably say, sorry, Eric. We're going to probably forget a lot of things about the
Lore? Yeah, I only know bits and pieces.
I'll do what, Lord? I don't know.
The whole show is about the lore.
Tell me what the fuck happened, dog.
One person's stories. Well, I guess they all are to a degree, but I only know one of them. So
About what? About the lore?
the Black Rose stuff for Noxus, but
That wasn't even the most important part. That was
just a side.
Let's just throw it in here for future shit.
But then that begs the question: like, what is the through line of this show? Like, what is the important part? What would you consider to be the underlying narrative, the tying narrative of this show?
Dude, I was just like, Jinx, the main character, bro. Whatever happens to her, it's whatever
The
happens.
through line is
Because
Victor.
Because I mean, we mentioned this, right? But to get this out of the way before we talk about like some of the writing and stuff, visually, this show is
10 out of 10.
is impeccable. It is absolutely beautiful. What Fortiche has done.
It was so beautiful. It impacted my comprehension.
Like what Fortiche has been able to accomplish with this, especially it being 3D animation, is astounding.
Oh, yeah.
It is an absolute work of art. There are so many frames that are just beautiful paintings.
I will say, to choose our background picture, we did go through a few handfuls. I mean, that's not even counting some of my like just favorite scenes that I just had. Still frames.
There's like still frames in my head that I'm just like, that was beautiful.
I think I saw an interview with one of the animators when they're like, "How do you make it so it looks like this and like hand painted?" And he was just like, "We painted them."
Oh, yeah.
We do this thing called art. We were trained in it.
We made a filter and then we.
I do feel like it is that perfect blend though of a very like hand painted style with that 3D animation as well.
I do wonder how they did it. I wonder if it was like they laid a 3D character model and then just like painted over.
They do.
Like things, yeah, like that.
Because I think when season 1 came out, there was a bunch of like featurettes that they did about the making of, and that is part of their process. A lot of it is you'll have your standard base character model with your base colors and stuff, and you'll have them run through whatever the camera work and all that stuff, and then they'll go in after either add effects, whether those be the hand drawn 2D effects, like anytime there's smoke or something like
that
this,
like weird lighting effects when she goes crazy.
Yes. And obviously the other thing is to determine lighting in the scene. And once lighting's determined in the scene, then they'll go back and hand paint all the different like details and stuff and the way the light hits them, because that'll change how it looks and
Shout
stuff.
out to all the animators in the show. Amazing, great job.
Hopefully they got paid good because I know this costs a lot of money. So
I hope so. If you didn't, I'm sorry.
At least you got a good resume.
Yeah.
Probably go anywhere at this point.
But it is a very beautiful show. And everything is so absolutely lovely. But I do feel like it loses itself in it a little bit.
Dude, it's too pretty.
Well, it's and then this is something I now going through it, right, and then especially thinking about season 1, right, because this is a second part. This isn't like it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Yep.
I do feel like this season is a bit more style over substance than the first one was.
I can see
100% agree.
I feel like my issue with this season is, again, the too many characters.
Yes.
So much fucking going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the Noxus stuff, like I understand they're pushing it for next season. Some of it's important for what was going on in the show. Like when she was, like, spoilers with the ending fight scene where she's using her powers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's very important. But I felt like that whole arc just felt added and too much, where it wasn't like they didn't go down the full route so we understood what was fully going on. Like I guess if you understand some of the lore, probably helps, obviously.
Well, I think, if you're deep into League of Legends and all that stuff, it's probably like, oh, this was amazing that they added this or blah, blah, blah. But for your average viewer,
but
I'm just like, I don't fucking
know.
The
only reason I say this, right? Because if you look at like season one is a very tight story.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you have everything is around
Jinx.
the two characters of Jinx and Vi.
Yeah.
Everything.
And Caitlyn. I consider them three.
What I mean is like everything revolves around those two characters.
Yeah.
Because Caitlyn revolves around Vi.
Yeah.
Right.
2.5 woman.
And so even if there is like all these other ones, the main driving story is the relationship between these two siblings.
Yes.
And there's all these other things. You'll see Heimerdinger, you have Jayce doing his thing. But at the end of the day, that ties in over with like Jinx and stuff. But at the end of the day, everything that happens, everything they go through, that is the glue.
Because I think this season actually main characters is Jayce and Victor. Yeah. Is that Victor?
No.
It's an inside joke. But I do think they were the main story of this season.
Yeah.
Where I feel like everything was going around them, where there was a lot of moments of Vi and Jinx.
Yes.
But most of the main pushed forward story were because of the other two.
Yeah.
Because I think Jinx and Vi stories weren't resolved per se.
Yeah.
But they were resolved up to a point where you couldn't do
much else with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Without the other stuff in the background pushing them forward. And that's what I think. Like with the Ekko stuff in this season was also like one of the interesting in-betweens of the Jinx. To me, that story tied the Jinx story and the Jayce story together.
That makes sense.
That's how I at least see it.
Who was Jayce?
The guy with the hammer.
The crazy crackhead dude at the end.
Right.
I don't know why he went crazy. It's like he saw something in the future.
He like resetted the story, I guess.
Yeah, some crazy thing. Poor guy.
But that's the only thing. It just feels a little more all over the place than season one did.
Yeah.
Maybe because there's no direct, but I think this always happens too when your goal, your driving force is abstract.
Yeah.
Because in this case it is, right? Like the thing that Victor's doing, right? The thing he's playing with.
He's just being Jesus. It's just easy.
Is this amorphous idea of magic.
Right.
And time and space and everything.
Yeah.
Is he a black hole?
And consciousness. I mean, he does call it a singularity at some point, but
is he Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar?
Yes.
That last scene where he's like moving stuff, that's him. And
I'm not gonna lie. Now that you say that, that moment where he has that famous quote when him and Jayce merge or whatever they do.
Yeah.
Like I swear you could play the Interstellar music to that.
Someone edited.
And it would be perfect.
One for one, the same
Victor's voiceover and everything. And it's not that I don't like I like Victor's character. I like Victor's character probably more than Jayce's. But yes. I've always liked all these different people, and I do understand they have to find a way with this being the last season of this story of this area to bring everybody's kind of arcs to a conclusion, right?
I think where it ended was fine.
Yeah.
With everyone's arc.
Yeah.
Like I think everything 99% of things got finished.
Yes.
And the stuff that didn't get finished is obviously the stuff for the next season if they are going in that direction. If not, it's just left open.
I mean, like I said, and what I feel is an issue might be something that just carries over from season one, where you can look at season one almost rose-colored because it seems to focus on this, but it's not like the tendrils of all the other stories weren't there, right?
Yeah.
Their beginnings come from there. So it might not have taken center stage the same way, so you tend to forget about it. But now, when it has to, you're like, oh, there's so much shit going on.
I think just like last season, I'd have to look at it, but it was like 80% of the time in my mind, it was following the Jinx Vi. And then the other 20% was just everything slightly coming into picture.
It was like hints.
Because at the same time, because I think there was just 2 groups.
Yeah.
And because it was Jayce and his stuff,
Yeah.
and then Jinx and Vi.
Yep. It's the same thing as this season.
Yeah.
Kind of. They obviously have the Black Rose.
Yeah, because I feel like it splinters more here.
Yeah.
So like even the people in Jayce's side has now split into its own things.
Yeah. Well, because Jayce is tied to
Victor.
the other girl, Magic Girl.
Oh, Mel.
So he's tied to her, but then she's tied to her mother, who's tied into the.
She's tied to Caitlyn with this other stuff.
And it's just like a whole splinter spider web of just random.
And then like what Singh has more of a presence in this episode instead of just being kind of like a fun little cameo.
I think Singh was perfect in this season.
Yes, he's very good.
He was not center stage. He wasn't even considered. I'd consider second stage. He was just there, pushing important roles forward while showing some back lore.
Yeah.
I was just like, the Oriana thing was nice. Like, I knew that because from old League. I'm like, I understand who this is. But then it's like, I guess the other stuff is newer, so I just don't know it as well. Maybe
like
it's
Warwick
newer.
And stuff.
Well, the Warwick I knew. It's more the Black Rose and...
Oh, yeah.
All that
That's
camp.
just deeper lore. I guess if you understood the Noxus characters, you might know a little bit more. I don't know.
To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of most of the Noxus characters in the game. I never played them, so didn't really care about them. But maybe that might be just a me issue.
Yeah, because I know a lot of people are obviously confused about that, and especially with this, like the music video that came out after this series released not too long ago.
Was that related into the show?
Part of it. It does. It has to relate more because it's called like Welcome to Noxus.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like a hint towards whatever.
If that is the route they're going, if they're going to continue with this, that is probably where they're going to go. Especially because Noxus has more involvement with the other kingdoms and stuff where more champions are from.
It's like they're in war with everybody.
Yeah.
They're nice people.
They're the big bad empire that attacks everybody.
Yeah. They're the Mongolians back in the day. They try to conquer everybody because why not?
Why not? I mean, if you're bored, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly.
You have
Definitely
internet.
back in that day.
You didn't have TikTok. So.
Might as well just kill everybody. It's fine.
I also think like with style of stuff, like the structure of each episode is interesting. Like every episode starts with a music video, and then it progresses into whatever whatever it's going to do and go on. And like it spends all this time with this, even if I feel like sometimes that breaks a little bit of the momentum between episodes.
The music video?
Yeah.
Or?
I don't know. The soundtrack was pretty top tier.
No, it's not that the music is bad. It's a question of placement and pacing.
See, I think it was in a perfect spot personally. Because I like it because it shows you stuff that is needed, but doesn't need to have a whole, like, if you didn't make it as a music video, you'd make it as like a 20-minute segment explaining.
Well,
blah, blah, blah.
it doesn't have to have dialogue, right? That's fine.
Well, that's
and
the
you
point
can
of
say
the
it's
music
fun.
video, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like saying, oh, I watch a sports movie and every like 20 minutes, there's a montage.
It's a highlight.
But to push that much story, which was what they're doing, it's what they need.
But I feel like in a lot of the cases, especially in those points, like the story that it's pushing is not crazy or a lot, but it's also like dragged out for the style of it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the background story.
You think it's style, or was it that the director just had so much story?
I think it's that.
And at the editing point is like, oh, I gotta cut this down.
Because all the music videos to me were all story from no-name characters. All the people in the villages, all the whatever you want to call them, villagers, I guess this in general.
Yeah.
It's all their stuff that you can see the world changing that you can't see throughout the whole show. Because you don't know there's a whole group of Jinx people except for those scenes. Because otherwise you'd see at the end, you'd be like, oh, why is there so many blue-haired people? If you didn't have those music videos, basically.
Well, I mean, it's not like there isn't dialogue for it as well in different places, but yes.
But it's dialogue.
Yeah.
It's not visually shown. If you just said, oh, yeah, you're people, you'd be like, oh, is that like 5 people? Is that 100 people? Is that a whole army?
Yeah.
To me, that needs a visual statement. And it's only 2 minutes.
No, for each one, it's not crazy. It's just interesting That's to me that's like the route they wanted to go with, especially when you take something like season 1 that's not like this. It's very like there is musical scenes and there is moments like that, but it's very like the story chugs along without any detours.
But I think for season 1, because they didn't do the music video, they did a lot more backstory.
The same director?
Yeah, it's the same stuff. I think it's the same stuff. Same directors. Normally a series like this has a few different ones from episode to episode.
Yeah. But it felt, to me, season 1 felt more like you had all the backstory from even just the random people in the town. They showed that more. Where this, they didn't show anything from the town.
Which I feel like you didn't really fully need to. If you're just going to like carry on with the stories of all these main characters that you're taking anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I feel like it's good for the last episode.
That's fine. Yeah, there's a bit of payoff there.
That's fine, I guess. Sure. Because it's like, I don't know. You're like, the only way, if you cut those, would you think the last fight scenes would be important to you? Like, oh, look at these random townspeople. They're just dying.
Well, I mean, they just died anyway. They only had like 10 seconds beforehand, as is. Yeah, so it's not like there's much of an emotional connection to those characters to begin with, other than being fodder for a fun fight scene that most animation does.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or
it
movies
felt more
in general
like
does.
They had souls because you understood. Like they went to rallies, they fought against the Imperial and against the whatever.
So to you, the random deaths made more sense, I guess, or more impactful.
Yeah.
Because of those music videos.
Because then otherwise they killed, like, the guy who threw the grenade just got sniped. And you're like, oh, I know that guy from that one scene.
Yeah.
Anyway, just random deaths.
Yeah,
but
like, oh, he just died.
Yeah, the guy who planted the bomb, who got screwed.
Well, that's fine, yeah.
Like, those are main characters in the side of the story. So, but that's just me.
Yeah. Because it could have just been scenes, too.
Well, yeah. We could have another 2-minute scene of just people rallying.
Have a different reaction. Like, I was like one guy, and now he's dead.
Yes, no, I do agree. Eddie said, like, it could just be a scene. Like, just a talking scene. But
or not even just a talking scene. I mean, there's not like we don't have establishing shots. We don't have so many other ways of visual, storytelling.
But I think this is the way they did it.
Instead of using the same one at the beginning of every episod.
It's a way to move the story, though.
Plus, I guess it's the style of it. Yeah, that's fine.
It's like your lovely, what do you call them, title cards that you love in your lovely movies. The action scene. You're like, yes.
Random illustration in your novel.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Yeah, you're like, I get to see what the character looks like. Colored. Nice.
Oh, they're dead.
And they're dead.
You flip to the last page. It's just the same scene. They're just bloody. You're like,
oh, great.
Awesome.
Dead.
Flip novel. That's how it should be. Either way, I do love the story arc of Jayce in this one and Victor.
Yes, I do like it a lot.
I think, as I said, I feel like they overtook Vi and Jinx in this story arc. Because they pushed all the main bad. I don't even know if they're really bad. Just his ideas forward. Because to be fair, like Victor is probably the main villain, or at least not villain. What do you call it? Antagonist.
I guess, or protagonist. I don't know.
Because he was doing.
He's everything.
He's everything.
Oh, it's just like
he's God.
He's Aaron.
Yeah, I was about to say it's just like Aaron Yeager. Remember that?
Well, it's the stupid debate, right? Like, what do you consider your protagonist and antagonist, right?
Yeah.
Because if the protagonist is the one with the goal in like a superhero film, isn't the villain always the protagonist?
Yeah.
And the superhero being the person that wants to stop them, making them the antagonist.
So who's the protagonist between Jayce and and Victor?
Well, Victor's the one with the goal, right? Well, they both have goals, to a
saying,
certain degree.
One goal is to stop the other goal. The other goal.
But I wonder if Jayce's is more reactionary than not. That goal wasn't originally there. Like he had another goal that aligned with Jayce's. Sorry, with Victor's, and then it switched.
Yeah.
When he was like, "Oh no, I fucked up."
That shit just reminded me of Lost. You've seen it, you know.
Which season? What episode?
6th.
Oh, yeah.
Because I do feel like their story is going to take the forefront anyway, because it's just bigger. It's just bigger in scale. Right?
Yeah, because it's like godly things that are happening where the Jinx stuff is more like small.
Yeah, and then obviously the Noxus stuff ties with them with Ambessa and stuff.
Yeah,
and all this, and then that works fine. I do feel like because of this, I don't know if it's as an effect of. I do feel like Vi and Jinx's story, although satisfactory in moments, does feel a little dragged and forced in others. Because I do like the first 3 episodes, and I feel like it's a very nice little epilogue to season 1. Yeah. Right? It's a perfect little end. And then I feel like the middle 3 episodes, as much as I love the kind of like the fake rug pull catharsis of having Warwick join them and
so
stuff.
Much shit going on.
But like, and that's the thing. And maybe just because it's bogged down with everything else happening around them, I feel like it loses so much momentum where you have to introduce a character to inject momentum again, which would be Isha, just to get the gears rolling to make sure that to make sure that part 3 has that payoff.
I can see that, yeah.
And so I do feel like their story suffers a little bit on the in-betweens, and it gets a little muddier when these other ones are taking over in that case, which is it's a little bit of a shame. But
I enjoy Jinx being a mother and her arc.
Yeah,
she's best mother.
That was very cathartic for her. I feel like
having a mini her basically.
Yeah, it was basically having to relive her childhood that she didn't have.
As mini her wants her to obviously be in the spotlight.
Yeah,
she idolizes her.
Yeah.
Go kill those people.
Woo! Because I mean, and it's fun and it's fine. I just like it's just constrained, right? Because this is such a short time. I feel like to tell so much.
Oh yeah,
so much.
But would you have done a season 3? Like if you broke this up to make it longer, basically.
It's already so successful. Why not?
Well, yeah, no, I agree with that. If you're going off of like money base,
like story wise.
But story wise, do you think there's a way to make it so it's not so cluttered?
I don't know, unless because I think it's a question of where are you comfortable tying people's stories up.
My issue with it would not be like it did feel cluttered. But I couldn't think of any other way where I could shove people together and not make it feel uneven. Doesn't make sense.
I think it's also...
I would have made another season, maybe just 3 more episodes.
Like add more stuff?
Yeah.
Like I would have liked to know more about like the magic stuff. And but obviously they're going to do it for next season. It's more important with the Noxus.
To me, as a casual viewer, it just kind of felt like previews, if that makes sense. So it's like this little tiny story, and then we're gonna switch to this other story for a little bit, and then we're gonna switch back, and then we're gonna go to this other story, and it kind of makes sense, but it wasn't too cohesive at the same time, altogether. Okay. And if they would have we're gonna focus a whole episode or maybe 2 on this whole arc or whatever, and then move on. And then it's just a little bit more.
I think I don't mind it too much either when it does that and like both sides have almost like mirror each other in a way. Like episode 7 is to me brilliant in every aspect from beginning to end, because you are focusing, you tighten up on just like 2 characters. Mm-hmm. And then their paths mirror each other like in opposites in a way that make it very digestible and fun without also it being like, this crazy, this is stuff for the future that we may or may not get to.
Because my issue is because you have these 2 big story arcs that are separated, that are merging together.
Yes.
But I can't think of any way, I would like them where they wouldn't do the, 10 minute, 10 minute, 10 minute, 10 minute, 10 minute, 10 minute to fill the episode. But I can't think of it would you just do a whole episode of just following this one arc, then the next episode following this arc, they catch up, and then go back?
I mean, I feel like you have to a certain degree, depending on what your direction is for each episode.
Because I feel like
what you want to accomplish.
Most shows that have multiple story arcs, that's how they do it.
Yeah.
And some of it can be super annoying when they do it too fast, where it's I want this arc to finish, But obviously, you want to push this like 2 minutes, and then we jump back to the arc.
Yeah, because I think the other thing, I don't know, and I don't know if it doesn't work for pacing or it doesn't work for payoff. Like, there's always this idea, especially with long form content, right? Like this, is where are you comfortable letting a character be done?
Yeah.
Right? Because there's obviously a drive and there's an incentive to keep them, to have their stories tie up at the very end, like all of them tie together at the very end and have a conclusion at the conclusion. And that is fine. But then you get this, right? You get like a jumbled everything, because some characters are going to be left doing either middling stuff, filler almost, to make it so that they can make it to the end at that finish line, or you're not like, doing anything with them.
Like, if we're going are we talking about last episode, basically?
Sure. I mean...
Last two.
Well, because last two's the conclusion. They're all coming together.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the problems with pacing and a lot of the problems with structure are in the middle, which is always where you're going to have these problems. So it's the idea, are you okay having popular characters be left by the wayside so you can actually focus on a story and telling it well or digestibly, and then having them come in at the end when they're needed?
It's the same problem that fucking Castlevania had.
Yeah.
You know,
you have too many characters. Your first
season, you have your core cast, right?
Yeah.
When in the second season, they took like a backseat to having to have other characters, blossom, and like we can explore their other stories and other themes or whatever, and then you bring the core cast at the end.
But I feel
I
feel like I agree with that, but I feel like it's almost like they didn't even push anyone back. They just pulled more forward.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
They pulled them sideways.
Yeah, kind of. Like they expanded too large, where if they just pulled some people forward and like dropped some back, you'd been fine. But it felt like they're like, we want everyone to have equal screen.
Especially with a show like this where everyone has their favorites.
Yeah.
There's no company, right? There's no director or animator that's going to look at this property and be like, well, this whole last season, our primary focus was Jinx and Vi, and they're popular and they're favorites.
Yeah.
We're not going to shove them to the wayside because they're our moneymakers, right?
Yeah.
So we have to find something for them to do to make it so that they have their payoff at the end, right? Whatever that ends up being.
It's like a lose-lose situation.
My issue is, like, I feel like I agree with that, like almost 100%. But I feel like you still need to obviously drag them up. At least, you can cut their screen time in half easily.
Yes,
perfect.
Yes,
that's what I would recommend.
I do agree.
You cut the screen time. You push Jayce forward in that whole arc to just run that as far as you can. And then obviously you have to push the now Noxus arc just to kind of shove it in there. But it's like weird to say. The arc I liked a lot that to me definitely wasn't needed was the Ekko arc. I think it's one of the best arcs.
Yes, okay.
It's completely useless.
Yeah.
What did he do? Like in the last scene, obviously he saved some people in the fight scene, but you could almost get rid of that a little bit.
I mean, your
character died.
Which one?
The little dude with the mustache.
What's his name?
The dude with the mustache.
Heimerdinger?
Yeah, that guy. He just fucking
vanished into oblivion.
But that's perfect.
Yeah.
Like they killed off a great character in a great way to push the story forward. 100% best death.
I feel like, I mean, Ekko exists to be kind of, I don't know, it's a help to Jinx, right?
Yeah.
Well, and here's my thing, right? Like I said, that was my issue with the middle, right?
Yeah.
So they had to manufacture a problem to bring Jinx down, and then you have a reason for Ekko to be there to bring her back up again. Mm-hmm. So you have that final moment, right? Where I feel like, because she was already down to begin with before the whole Isha arc, you could have that just be from there to the final without the stuff in the center, right?
Because like the only thing that was very important would have been the reverse time bubble thing. Like that was obviously very key to the last fight scene.
And it's a key to Ekko as well.
Yeah,
but
and it rips apart basically Victor.
Yeah.
But it's like they added so much just for that one saving moment. And it's just like, it's great. I loved it. But it just felt, like you said, just added for no reason.
When you didn't really, where you could have focused on all these other things. Like I said, I love Ekko, especially like I said, the episode 7, where you have Ekko's arc in the other thing, and then you have Jayce's in the other one, and the contrast between the two makes each side more poignant.
Yeah,
right.
Because I felt like, oh god,
I was gonna say I want an offshoot, a side spin-off of just that episode.
Oh yeah, like to me, it was a filler arc. That was a great filler arc. Like this is what all filler episodes need to be in all of anime.
It's like, what is it? It's like episode 3 of The Last of Us with Nick Offerman.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Where it's like it is. It's a
filler.
filler.
Arc.
It's a filler. It ties to the story eventually, but it's a filler. But it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. It ties into the story, but
yeah,
it wasn't.
And I do love it, and I love it as an episode.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the larger picture, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard, right?
To me, that was like a 10 of 10 episode that if you took it away, would not have changed much in my mind. The only thing that would have changed would have been like, why does Ekko now have all this power? And he just comes out of nowhere and saves everybody.
Yeah, unless you, like I said, unless it's like you're giving a reason for Ekko to be there at the end.
Yeah.
Or for a character that because Ekko never really has a ton to do over the course of even from last season to this, over the course of the entire thing. He exists to be there in moments because he's Ekko and he happens to be in Piltover.
He's a garnish.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little sprinkle.
But he always feels like a side thought until you get to episode 7.
Yeah.
Where they actually want to give him a little more substance.
And I was also hoping that, like, you know how you had the romance between the Jinx of that timeline with the Ekko of this timeline. I thought it would have played something out towards the end.
It is a little. But
yes, but very little.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not even talked about. It's just like, yeah, I'm just here to save people.
I think it's more of a, because I feel like it shows itself more when Ekko goes to talk to Jinx when she's gonna blow herself up, right? And she has like he has a newfound almost like empathy like towards her that he lost, right? But in the previous fights and stuff like this. Or I would even say after the fight he has with Jinx in season 1, right, where he kind of loses that when he obviously liked the character, and it's not like the romance thing isn't built into the lore as well. I think Ekko has a line in the game too about Jinx saying he's like, I used to like you a lot more until you started talking to your guns.
Sounds like a normal Utah person.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like that doesn't come from somewhere there, right? That's always been there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't mind him using that as a way to reach out to her in that moment.
Yep.
And that's fine for the end and for that payoff in the end. I'm okay with the last 3 episodes and how that works out.
Yeah.
I just feel like
there's just too much going on.
Yeah, middles just suck to do.
Yeah.
And it always,
because I felt like the whole arc
suffers.
with Warwick was kind of just like let down. Obviously, he's like one of the main, not villains, just brainwashed guys fighting at the end.
Well, he's just like I feel to a certain degree. You know what he's like to me? He's like a lot like a Heimerdinger, in over the course of this, where Heimerdinger exists because he exists in Piltover.
Yeah.
And he has moments and he does kind of influence characters, but he is a fun cameo.
Yeah.
And he's a glorified cameo throughout this.
To me, that's also what Singh was.
Yes, Singh is the same way as well.
Like, he might have more screen time this season, but every time he came on, it wasn't like he did anything super crazy.
Yeah.
Everything he kind of tried to do kind of got stopped in the tracks.
Yeah.
Who was that guy?
The guy that was helping with the
alchemist guy.
Messed up eye and...
Because he's another champion.
Right.
Yeah. Right. He's the guy, if you really play the game, he just flips people. That's all he does. Such a weird character.
And so, and Warwick's one of those other ones as well, where everyone had the tease from season 1 where they're like, oh, this is Vander. He eventually becomes Warwick, and everyone kind of knew that on the subtext, right?
Yeah.
That's how that was going to go, because that's Warwick's backstory. And so, obviously, we knew he was going to appear probably in season 2, because that's just how the story works. But I feel like it's very hard to shoehorn him in when you have this other wider narrative that's also happening in the background. Mm-hmm. And I do like kind of, it would have tied like that little bow in a nice little knot, right? With Vi, Jinx, and himself in that middle area before, it all goes to shit.
What?
Jayce is a bitch boy. No, I'm just kidding.
he did what he did. It's
I know.
understandable.
He had to do what he did for a reason.
I remember, and he's like, "That son of a bitch." Why did he do that? I'm like, it makes sense once you watch more.
I think
Jayce is just what I think. Jayce is a character that's very easy to hate from beginning to end.
Yeah,
like his whole arc.
He's just a preppy boy that, gets almost everything. And
I
then
didn't give a shit about him the whole time.
You
On
see,
screen, I'm like, ugh.
and I understand he did what he had to, and I understand that's the role he has to inhabit. But he's so easy to hate.
Yeah, very egotistical too.
Because even Victor, you're like, there's the empathy, right? You empathize with this guy who wants to be better and stuff.
Victor was my favorite character this
Victor
season, by far.
Yeah.
Then when he became Space Jesus, I was like, dude.
That Victor?
That's Victor.
I do, and I liked Victor's character a lot in season 1 as well.
Nice.
So I do feel like this is an extension of that. And he's just great. It's just great what he becomes and the natural progression of what he wants to be. I do also like the differences they do with him in design and in motivation, where Victor is a very classic, just mad scientist in traditional League lore.
Yep.
Because that is a change they did make for the show. Yep. And I do feel like his character's better for it.
Oh, yeah. I just think he's so good. The way he plays very angelical towards the end too, where he's like, my thoughts are basically everyone's thoughts. We just want everyone to be peaceful, and if I destroy the world for it, this is what happens.
From mad scientist to like, my God, what have I done?
And also, if you're not a One Piece fan, watch One Piece Red. It has a very similar arc to it. It's very like a girl's, just wants everyone to be nice and stop wars, but she does it in a very bad way.
Well, it's like even, what's it called? It was like Mel's line in this, right? Oh, no, or it's Catherine's line, where she was like, why is it when, we always use peace as a pretext for violence, right?
Yeah. Well, you got to kill everybody to make sure that no one can kill anybody at the end, so we're all happy. That's how peace works, right, guys? Right?
Also, like, Ambessa's story is okay.
Who's?
The Noxus warlord lady. That's
just
added because we haven't talked about her, right? So that's like, I feel like another thing that joins the jumble
with Caitlyn's story and Maggie's story.
I said Catherine, Caitlyn.
Either way,
didn't give a shit either.
Like her story, I felt this season was definitely just pushed, and definitely with Ambessa.
Yeah,
I just felt like all that stuff was just like shove him forward. Okay, this is where we're at. Okay, we can go to somebody else now.
Felt like an afterthought. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot. Go.
Because it's interesting the way they took this. Because I felt going into season 2 that Ambessa just would have straight up been the main antagonist, and she kind of is to a certain degree. But the way season 1 kind of pushed her. And especially anybody who had like even just an inkling of an idea of Noxus and what she represents, thought, you would think she'd be the thing, right? Be like and like I said, she kind of is, but even her stuff gets a little sidelined sometimes.
Sidelined real hard.
Yeah. By everything else where you're like, okay, she's evil, big, bad boss lady, right? But I don't feel like it accomplishes a ton.
Yeah.
And it's not, and
it doesn't also make sense in my mind why she teams up with Victor at the end.
It does to a certain degree.
Explain.
It's the traditional warlord looking for a weapon. It says it in the show, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole reason you're doing this is because you want something to fight the big bad dudes in Noxus. Because Noxus is supposed to be this hive of scum and villainy.
But it's like you're choosing this. You're choosing a nuclear bomb that has a brain to fight for you.
Yes,
that doesn't have the same line.
Yeah.
Like her line's like, I just want to destroy everything. His line's like, I want to make peace. It's not like they intertwine at any point. They're just like,
because
I guess,
because I think that's supposed to be like a problem as the character of Ambessa anyway, right? It's a mixture of hubris and losing yourself in the sauce, right?
Where too deep.
Where she's lost kind of like the actual logical thought of why she's doing the thing.
She's like, I wore.
Yeah, she's just like, I need to do the thing.
Yeah.
And it's also the hubris of like, it doesn't matter what I'm up against, I'll put it under my thumb. And I'm better than Space Jesus, right? I'm better than Magic Techno Jesus.
I guess it's just my brain. I just can't think of just going up to someone that's like ethereal, basically, and being like, "Yeah, you're gonna blow things up for me, right? Yeah." And you can just go.
Well, that's every religion, bro.
Because I think there's a disconnect in her head too about it. I mean, the way Runeterra is structured makes you have to have a disconnect to the powers around you, right? Where you have this super like techno magical place that is built over, and then you have like the
swamps.
yeah, bilge water.
You have the swamps,
or the snow place, or Asia Land, right?
Yeah.
You have these places that are at different varying levels, and it's not like the world hasn't been like that in historically past, but they're a lot more interconnected in this world than they were in ours.
Yeah.
So
we don't do magic anymore.
Yeah, so you have Noxus where you have people with spears and armor and stuff, but then you also know, if you know, they have some crazy magical superpowers, right? So you have this lady that knows that exists and sees this other superpower dude. He's just another one. He's just another one of them. And if he's on her side, then great. Right? Because the other people on the other side take like LeBlanc or Swain or all those other people at Noxus. They're also crazy, magical, weird things.
They got voodoo magic.
Yeah. And so in her mind, there's probably that disconnect of just like, yeah, I can use this. What can possibly go wrong?
The guy's dead. He's not even a thing, but he's still ethereal talking through the world. I'd be like, dude, I don't know how you control something that's not here. I don't know. This is my brain just like, I don't understand why she's that stupid.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's funny. And I do find it interesting where you have, it's always fun, like when you have a show like this. Because I feel like this ends the same way to me. A lot of like mechas show ends, especially like non-Gundam, non-grounded, like your weird, crazy magic juju ones, where like the ending is always like, oh, we're gonna have these crazy fight scenes, but obviously the conflict is resolved through the two people just talking to each other and they bone or whatever's, and that's the end of it.
How it always is, you know.
That fixes everything.
Whereas the case here, you have all this craziness that's going on. You have this, and then Jayce makes it up to Victor. You know, they smooch, they get along, they
bone,
they bone, and we going all right. You know? I don't remember the Hades quote is from Hercules.
The cosmic came, dude.
Yeah,
I saw it. Everyone saw it.
They were joined together cosmically.
Bob, I have a great idea for a T-shirt. It says Cosmic Came, and then it's just Victor and Jayce just touching each other. That's it.
It's a great shirt. That's our idea.
Don't steal it.
Coming to a con near you.
Anyway, getting away from coming.
Because I don't know, it's like so many things get put by the wayside. I feel like even Vi to a certain degree.
Well, Vi got way shoved into the wayside.
Shoved in the corner.
Who?
Because like her last fight scene made no sense to me. Because she's like, I need to be with either my sister or Caitlyn. I'm gonna be by myself on this tower with this random dude.
Her last fight scene is when she fucked, and then after that she became irrelevant.
Pretty much.
Except to watch Jinx die.
Yeah.
Spoilers. He's dead.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so.
Dead. I don't think she's so. Dead.
Why would she just disappear? What's the point?
So much subtext.
They're not doing season 3, she's dead.
You don't have this, like, you don't have a whole scene, like 2 scenes. You don't have a whole scene with Caitlyn staring at this fucking, like plans while holding a monkey head, looking through the things, and then ending on a ventilation shaft when Vi comes in and talks to her, and then you have this thing with the plane going away, and then there's the weird graffiti bullshit, and not tell me she's not alive.
She's dead, Eddie. What's the point of bringing her back? No, I guess the question is, if I was in that situation, we'd just be like, you know what? Everyone probably forgot that I was an asshole and did shit. Everyone's probably fine with me now.
Yeah.
Maybe we could just all live in peace.
I don't know. Maybe she felt like she doesn't belong there.
She didn't belong there.
She never did.
She's got to go fight the other champions in Summoner's Rift. I don't know what to tell you.
She's like, I'm gonna take my fucking. I forgot the name of the gun. Fishbones.
Fishbones.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my fish bones and go next place. I will say, just probably finishing up on like the last fight scenes and stuff. I will say when she came out in her big fucking balloon with the big ass Gatling gun and her big fish bones, I was like, oh god,
that
so
scene is
cool.
Brilliant. Absolute. Like, there's so much that's so good, but the way that scene is shot and structured is so good.
It was so good. She was so useless. It was so good.
Yeah.
She came out there and it's like it bounced off everything. I'm like,
but
she's not doing anything but cool.
What an entrance. What I also like too, and like the styling of her, obviously you have the hoodie with the teeth, right?
Yeah.
Like the hair is designed to look like a tongue coming out of the mouth.
Yeah.
As well. It's just brilliant. It's just brilliant.
The Gura hood.
The Gura hoodie.
It's a 10 out of 10 design. She didn't do much, but she was there.
Is it a skin on League of Legends?
Most likely.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
On LoL?
I haven't played League in 5 years. I still buy skins because you never know.
Last
but,
time I played League. Like 10 years
When the
ago.
addiction's gonna come back for you.
Still on my computer.
Wow.
He hasn't even deleted it.
Motherfucker keeps updating it one day.
One day.
No, it doesn't update. I haven't logged in. It's just the little, what was it called? The shortcut is there.
Whatever it is.
It'd always be there.
It is shortcut.
Put too much money. Think about all the food I could have had with that.
Yeah. How many con tables you could have paid for?
Probably only 2, to be honest with you. Didn't spend that much.
Still 2.
The more is how much life did I waste playing the goddamn game. It's a good game. It's a good game.
Right.
Anyone that plays or hasn't played League, you should get into it. It's very wholesome.
Don't do it.
You'll make tons of friends.
You'll make friends.
Don't do it.
Frenemies for
Don't
life.
listen.
It's a good game. Good game. How much are you paying me, Riot? Okay. Yeah, it's a great game.
You wish you would be paid by Riot.
I wish.
Yeah, you wish you would be paid by
I'd
Riot.
take one skin just to go back.
Check your next email.
Oh, look at that.
Like I love the show. I liked it a lot. Like I have nitpicks mainly because I do love what it was and is, but it is a brilliant show.
Rate the season.
Huh?
Rate the season.
Like out of 10?
Yeah.
You can rate it out of 5 if you want. He
You
gave the
can
last
rate
one
3 if you want to.
He rated the last one 12 out of 5. So we have a very unusual number system here, it seems, these days.
Well, I'm never gonna remember what I
98
rated
out of-
season
I
1.
think you rated probably at a 10.
You're right. It probably was a 10.
It was one
It
of the
was
best.
at least a 9.
It was at least a 9. Minimum a 9.
Fuck. I don't want to give it another 8.5. It's probably an 8.5 because I like it. I like the animation more. I like the story a little less. But fuck, dude, some of those scenes live rent free in my head now.
The still frames are just like,
they're just so good. Because now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying to think about season 1 and what's stuck in my head, and I don't like. I know everything was good and beautiful, but I don't know if there was still shots that stuck in my head the same way as some of the ones here.
I don't think so.
Fuck, it's probably the same. I'll just give it a 9.
That's fine. That's fine.
Even if I do poke at it.
I'd give it a 9 too.
8.
8. Well, if you hated the show like Bob, no, I thought
It's 8.5, man. I don't know.
I think it's fair to be between 8 and 10.
I
Yeah.
think story-wise, season 1 is really good.
Yes.
Art-wise, season 2 is goated.
Yes.
And music. I think the soundtrack is fantastic
I think
as well.
I think season 2 has better story arcs than season 1 in certain parts. But I think there's so much extra that brings it down.
Yeah.
For story for me. Is I love the Jayce and Victor arc.
Yeah.
But all the other arcs felt unneeded.
Cosmic fuck.
Cosmic fuck.
Oh, I thought it was a cosmic cum.
The ultimate,
That's
the ultimate cosmic gay boys.
Yes. They had the yowie hands and everything.
Yowie
You
hands and all.
didn't see this coming from the beginning, Bob,
I
with the
did.
big yowie hands.
I didn't realize until the end when they were coming. And I'm like, that's a big
It's
ass hand.
the ship, dude. It's the ship.
Arcane is actually a BL story.
And a Yuri.
And a Yuri.
And,
Wow.
and normal, I guess.
It's very, what's the word I'm looking for?
LGBT positive. Yeah.
It's very inclusive.
Very inclusive.
It hits every arc of every story you want. Some too much, some too little.
It's brilliant. It is overall. I think
Cinema.
it is an absolute like brilliant addition to animation.
It's peak
It is
animation.
peak.
This is funny. This is a show I feel like you could mute and just watch the pretty colors.
fuck yeah, dude.
And you go, oh, it's so
Nah,
pretty.
You mute it and you just put a music just music.
Your music.
You fucking put it on Spotify or whatever.
Yeah.
Watch
like,
it.
this is pretty. I don't know what's going on, but
What?
it's so pretty. Anyway, what'd you guys think of this one? I know there's a lot of lore stuff we didn't talk about because either some of it's like buried under the deep lore we don't know, or there's
It might not even be that deep. We just don't know.
future stuff.
I don't have 20,000 hours on League, so.
You don't have to. You never learn it from League.
You do. They tell you the one-liners when they kill each other every once in a blue moon. And if
Once
you're
you
bad,
die and you're waiting to be, respawn, you read it. And then you're like,
You start reading the flavor text.
that's what they should have. It's like, when you go to the gray, they should pop up like a little page of an article and be like, read about your champion.
They really should. They really should.
So you
at
don't
this
just
point.
sit there and you go, dead for a minute.
I think you have to digest this the same way everyone digests lore from a FromSoft game. As you find some YouTuber and let them explain it to you.
what's the equivalent of Vadi for
for League.
for League?
There's someone out there.
Who also makes 3-hour videos on little parts of the lore.
Yeah.
If you ever recommended VTuber,
VTuber.
I mean, there could be
Yeah,
niche
it could be too.
VTuber, YouTuber, or I guess they'd be called FleshTuber these days.
Streamer.
TikToker, whatever.
Streamer, no TikTok.
Talks about League lore.
I'd love to hear more of it.
Drop it down.
Give us your
Those
rating
things down
on this show.
We'll have some League of Legends art.
We already have one.
We'll have more.
We'll have more eventually.
We have it already as a t-shirt under our website. Go to reaperinthearea.com. We have all t-shirts and shit there.
Brilliant. Until next time. Peace.